Do you want to know how silly Kingdom Rush has become? This is the hero they brought back from Frontiers, a huge skeletal dragon fueled by pure evil. And this is the hero they made just for this game. It's a cartoon character, it's a goddamn cartoon. Hello and welcome. This is apparently a Kingdom Rush channel now because I'm doing a third video on the series within like a month and a half. Undying Fury is out, a free expansion for Kingdom Rush Alliance, and I'm here to tell you if it's worth your time. Without further ado, I'm Holland, and let's go! We enter the first stage, and just look at how beautiful it is. Well, we've kind of already seen this very same aesthetic before. It's almost an exact recreation of the fairy forest from Kingdom Rush Origins, simply looking a bit more withered and evil, which is cool, I guess. This level does look good, don't get me wrong, but I think the designers could have turned it into something wholly unique by leaning more heavily into the withered forest theme. The woods are supposed to be corrupting due to an evil presence, which would have been the perfect excuse to change up the visuals drastically. Anyways, this level introduces some new enemies, which are all pretty cool. There are these evil archers that, when killed, summon a spectre, which interacts with other enemies and stage elements. One such element are these towers called Weird Woods that are scattered around the level. They start out on your side, throwing acorns at nearby enemies, much like they did in Origins. But once infected by a few specters, they turn into a Death Wood, and you lose the tower for the rest of the game. It's a cool mechanic that forces you to stay vigilant at all times, as you really don't want to lose any of these free towers. What isn't very cool is that Ironhide still doesn't really seem to care about making enemies that are damage type resistant. What better chance to make an enemy resistant to magic damage than through the Spectre? And how much resistance do you think it has? Okay, no one cares, let's move on. On the topic of no one cares, I got a lot of feedback last time that absolutely not a single one of you agreed with my criticisms of the sound design in Pirate Kings. And while I do admit I was being a bit harsh, maybe even a bit unfair, let me just show you one example of a good sound effect from this expansion. See, that's a nice sound. It's pleasant to listen to. That's all I want in a sound effect, for my little elven ears not to get tired of the sound when it plays for the 100th time, which it often will do in a tower defense game. Yeah, we're about done with this level. It's pretty fun, and I do appreciate that a few new paths open up over time, but it's nothing to write home about. A decent first level. We've made our way deeper into the woods and have now reached an elven outpost. Having barely managed to defend the outpost from its previous assault, we're greeted by an old friend, Eridan, who is here to help us. I personally just love seeing characters from previous titles make reappearances. It makes the world feel that much more interconnected, so this is a plus in my book. Besides the outpost itself, the level barely looks any different from the last one, so that's a bit underwhelming. Though we do get a new environmental feature, the Elven Mercenary Barracks. Here we can hire elven foot soldiers that respawn when killed. I really like that Ironhide has moved away from hired units that don't respawn, because I always have a heart attack trying to keep them alive. These I can just leave to be slain in cold blood and they'll just come back for free. Now, the twist with these mercenary barracks is that they can be corrupted by specters, just like the Weird Woods from the previous level. And that is bad news, because once corrupted, they'll keep spawning very powerful enemies throughout the rest of the fight. Okay, let me just go on a quick tangent here. You know how you always build your defenses near the exits, like in basically every single level? Well, these barracks actually kind of break up that monotony, because you really want to protect them so they don't get overtaken by the enemy. Which means you'll have to place your defenses at the start of the level rather than at the end. You can see I didn't do that in some of the gameplay, which means I lost both barracks quite quickly, and I only got 3 stars by the skin of my teeth. On the contrary, when I tried to defend the barracks instead, I did far better. Granted, I also had changed the difficulty to casual by then, but I think the point still stands. So, props to the stage designers for that. I love when a level makes you think in creative new ways. Moving on. We have now arrived at the Temple of the Fallen. In short, it's the level where this guy, who's clearly this guy, claims he's not that guy by having a different name. Wait. Navira? Aravan? Navira, Erevan? No, I don't get it. Why is Ironhide trying to gaslight me into thinking these two aren't the same person? Anyway, Eridan's brother is now evil because reasons, and we have to fight him. Before we get to that, however, can I just take this time to express how much I don't like these new cutscenes they added in Vengeance? It's just so annoying that you have to wait around every time you enter the level. And here's the thing, before we had these proper cutscenes, the game would do this instead. You still had the villain say his quirky one-liner at the start of the level, but you didn't have to wait for him to finish before you could build your towers and call in the first wave. Call it nostalgia, but it had a charm to it, and it was way less annoying. Anyways, the boss fight. Aravan moves down the path like any other unit, occasionally morphing into a tornado that cannot be blocked. When returning to his regular form, he then stuns a few towers and does it all over again. Now, apparently I missed like half of the abilities that Blackthorn had in Pirate Kings, so take this with a grain of salt, but as far as I could tell, this tornado thing is the only ability that Aravan possesses. And that makes him a pretty underwhelming boss, especially coming off the high of Pirate King bosses. And, well, I guess that's it for the level. Aravan is captured and the day is saved, but just look at how silly the storyline has become. Vesnan has turned into the most cartoonish villain ever. It's kind of sad because I just cannot be asked to care about the story when the main villain is just being evil for evil's sake. Anyways, the expansion also brings with it 2 new heroes, Boneheart and the Wicked Witch of the West, or whatever she's called. I don't really care about the witch, she's cool I guess, although way too silly for my taste. Boneheart is, of course, a returning hero, a fan-favorite Frontiers frontline fighter, but does his implementation in Alliance compared to what he used to be in the second Kingdom Rush? Let's put these twin dragons side by side and find out. Visually speaking, I think the Alliance version is a beautiful reimagining of the original Boneheart. He's more spiky, more detailed, and even somehow looks older than his 2013 lookalike. They both look great though, and looking at them while they use their abilities, the new Boneheart actually feels more empowered and menacing than the old one. For the basic attack, however, the newer Boneheart's projectile speed is very fast compared to the old one, and I think that makes the original look more natural when he fires his Plague Bolt thing. I will also say that I like the design of the old Bone Golems better than the new ones. The last thing I'll touch on is that the old Boneheart does feel way different to play than the new one due to how their plagues work, or rather, how many targets they have to work off of. In Frontiers, Boneheart is a major league hero in large part due to the fact that there are so many enemies per wave in that game. This allows him to spread his plague far and wide, one death triggering a chain explosion across the entire map. The same feeling doesn't carry over to Alliance, a game with much lighter enemy numbers. A shame, but we can only hope the wave structure of future expansions will be changed so Boneheart can have his chance in the spotlight once again. All in all, in my opinion, the designers did a good job recreating Boneheart for Alliance. They missed a few key details, but still managed to capture the core of everyone's favorite skeletal drake. Now, besides the 2 new heroes, we also have a new tower. And if you're getting tired of my critical attitude, we're gonna be taking a break from that for a moment because I have only good things to say about the Twilight longbows. Compliment speed round, let's go. Number 1, the tower has a very detailed animation which looks great. Number 2, the tower is unique in that it fires very slowly but has huge range and damage, similar to the Musketeer Garrison or the Golden Longbows, both of which are many years old by now. Number 3, the tower has a targeting option, allowing you to choose between firing at the enemy with the most health or the enemy furthest along the path. This allows for more tactical involvement, which is great. Number 4, both of the tower's final upgrades are quite unique. The first one summons 2 blockers to the path that can be upgraded to gain more health and deal more damage. The second one increases the tower's damage permanently by 1 to 2 points every time it gets the last hit on an enemy. This upgrade is just amazing, seriously. It's so simple, but wow, is that both totally unique from what we're used to seeing and so much fun to play with. Love this one. Well, that's it. I don't know what else to say. I like the Twilight longbows a lot. So, that's about all she wrote, really. Undying Fury was about an hour of gameplay that failed to surprise greatly or disappoint severely. It brought back some old faces in a few levels that nobody will remember in a week. For most people, free content is quite hard to complain about, but for me it's second nature. I complain about everything. And, even though I did enjoy the new tower quite a lot, the expansion as a whole just felt a bit empty. In conclusion, I don't know, what do you want me to say? It was fine. Go home. Thank you so much for watching. Here's the thing I've never done. Ask for you to like the video if you enjoyed it or dislike it if you didn't. For more content like this, you could even consider subscribing. And feel free to leave a comment down below letting me know what I got totally and utterly wrong about the DLC. Or maybe share your opinion on which game you would like to see me review next. Have a lovely day.